Welcome to part 5 of this beginner's crochet along to make a standard size Weebee doll. A link to parts 1, 2, 3 and 4 can be found in the description box below. Today we're going to be making the hair cap to fit your Weebee doll, and as per usual we're going to be starting with a magic ring or a magic circle. Again, there are links to this in the beginner's Weebee doll pattern, and this time we're going to be working in half double crochet. So chain 1 doesn't class as a stitch, and then you're going to be working your first half double crochet into that circle and marking it with your stitch marker. Okay, and that's 1. So then you're going to work another 10 half double crochet into the magic ring, totaling 11 stitches, not including that chain 1. And the reason I suggest marking this off, even though we're not working in continuous spirals, is so that you don't accidentally work into that chain 1. Eventually you'll get used to skipping that chain 1 and joining the round into the top of the first stitch. But for beginners it's very helpful to mark that first stitch off with a stitch marker so that you know where you're going to be joining the round. Okay, so we're pulling that tight, and then making sure that you note where you're pulling that stitch marker out of. I'm going to slip stitch to join the round. So the hair cap is worked in what we call joined rounds. Okay, and for each round you chain 1 to start. It's not classed as a stitch, and then you're going to work 2 half double crochet into each stitch around on this round. So marking off that first stitch again so that you know where to join, and making another HDC in that stitch, and then 2 in the next stitch, and 2 in the next stitch, and you're going to repeat that all the way around. So you go from 11 stitches in the first round to 22 on round 2. Okay, so at the end of round 2 we're going to slip stitch to that first stitch again to join, chain 1 and half double crochet into the same stitch, mark off that first stitch, and you're going to work 2 half double crochet into the next stitch, and then 1 into the next stitch, 2 into the next stitch. I'm going to repeat that all the way around. 1 into the first stitch, 2 into the next stitch, all the way around, taking your stitch count from 22 to 33. So at the end of round 3 we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch again, and chain 1, and then half double crochet in the first stitch, mark it, and then half double crochet in the second stitch, and then 2 half double crochet in the next stitch. We'll be working 1 into the first stitch, 1 into the second stitch, and 2 into the third stitch, all the way around, taking the stitch count from 33 to 44 stitches for round 4. All the way around. Okay, so you'll have joined as normal, and then chain 1 and half double crochet in the first stitch for round 5, and you'll be working half double crochet in the second stitch, half double crochet in the third stitch, 2 half double crochet into the fourth stitch. So 1 in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, 1 in the third stitch, and 2 in the fourth stitch. I'm going to repeat that all the way around to your stitch marker for round 5, taking you to 55 stitches. Okay, so round 6 to 16, you're just going to be half double crocheting, but into the back loop only of each stitch around. This will create ridges that look a bit more like hair for the hair cap. And I forgot to mark off that first stitch, but again, because I'm used to it, I know where I'm going to be joining. But for beginners, I would highly recommend that you mark each first stitch. Okay, so you do that from around 6 to 16. And you've finished your hair cap. You want to fasten it off, leaving a really nice long tail, because we're going to use it to gather it in 2 places for the boy, 1 place for the girl. But it's the same technique for both. So you can see there's an obvious join, but that works quite well because it looks a bit like a hair parting. So you're just going to want to be weaving in and out those 6 rounds with your needle. Okay. Pulling it through. Then you're going to pull tight together. That's it. Okay. Pulling tight together and then wrapping around the outside of the cap up to that 6th round again. Okay, all around the gather and pulling tight. And you're going to do that 3 or 4 times. Not too many. Doesn't need to be that thick. Just needs to be enough to pull it in the shape that you want it. Okay. Right. The next part, the video for some reason didn't record this properly, so I'll try and explain what I did, and hopefully you'll get that from the next part. But I'm going to be putting this onto the doll's head where I want it, and then whip stitching it across the front of the doll's head. So you can see at the front here I've whip stitched all the way along, okay, to the opposite side where I want to make the second parting. And like I said, you can do this separately with different pieces of yarn if you find that easier. I just thought I'd do it all in one to avoid too many tail ends. So again, I've weaved in and out of the 6 rounds just like before, but this is on the doll's head now because the front is attached. And I'm wrapping around a few times again. Draw it in, make sure that it's even on the doll. Okay. And you can give it a girl doll this parting too, but on the girl I've just done it the once and put it in the centre. And you'll see that, but it's the same technique. Just weave in and out and then wrap around. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to pull it out at the bottom, just whip stitching it through, making sure that tail sits where I want it to. Okay, so that's the last gather. Put it tight, and then I'm going to whip stitch. So this is exactly how I did the front of the head. Okay, I'm just going to whip stitch 3 stitches on the doll's head, 3 stitches on the outside of the cap, all the way around. working through the head and through the stitches on the outside of the cap. So I'll pull the cap down to shape it and make sure that it's nice and snug and sits where you want it to, across the back of the neck and around. Continue to work until you meet up where you started off, which was on that first parting. Okay, then I'm going to pass the yarn through the back of the head. Okay, pull that through. Make sure the head isn't misshapen. Like that. Okay. Pass it through. Okay. And then I'm going to take my yarn again, right next to the stitch where you've come out at. Do one of the stitches there in the same colour. I'm going to tie a little knot. Pulling it through once, twice, 3 times for a knot. Pull it so that it pushes right up against the neck. Okay, and then I'm going to pass the tail through the stitch right next to that knot and pull the knot inside the body. Coming out one of the stitches further down, pull it in and that knot will disappear. We're just going to push the needle back through the stitch we came out of, working it down through the leg so you've got that nice long tail lost in the body as we've done before. Okay, and then we're going to cut the yarn. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do the pigtails for the girl doll. I'm actually going to be turning my boy doll into a girl doll for my niece. Just have the pigtails on the cap, same way that I've done for the girl. But for the moment he's a boy. But basically you start with a slip knot and chain 13. Okay, and then you're going to work 2 half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. That's 2, and then you're going to work 2 half double crochet in each chain back to the start. Okay, as you can see that has worked a curl already. by working 2 half double crochet into each chain. You can make your pigtails as long as you like. The general rule is to chain twice as long as you want your curls to be, and you can also work. So as you can see, I've just slip stitched into the bottom of that last half double crochet. Now you don't have to do that, but I find that it holds everything together much more neatly. So you're doing exactly the same again, chaining 13, and you're going to work 2 half double crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each chain back. Now you fasten off when you're done, pull it through, and then tie a knot. And you can work a multiple of any sorts of stitches depending on how thick you want your curls to be. You can work 2 or 3 single crochet in each stitch, or 2 or 3 half double crochet, or 2 or 3 double crochet. The more you work, the tighter your curls, the bigger the stitch, the thicker the curls. Really very straightforward. So as you can see, I'm tying the starting tail and the finishing tail together to gather the pigtail in even more. Okay, and then I'm just going to hide my tail end by weaving it through, back and forth through a few stitches, and back again, catching the stitch at either end. And I always tend to do it 3 times just for security's sake. Since I learnt to fasten off like this, I haven't had any tail ends come out, so it's lost in there. And then you've got a pigtail to sew onto the side of your doll's head. As you can see, just showing you the positioning of the curls, you sew them sort of just above the shoulders at the bottom. This means that the hat can sit on the doll's head, and you're going to be working them through the doll's head and through the edge of the cap so that it's a nice secure fastening. I do have a video on this that I'll link to in the pattern. Okay, so for the eyelashes, I also have a video for the eyelashes which I will link to below. And here I'm going to show you, I just use ordinary makeup blush and a blush brush from my makeup bag and sweep it underneath the eyes. If you brush it out with your finger, it sort of mutes the colour a little bit if it's a bit strong. And again onto the other eye at an angle. Push it out, and there you go, that's your girl doll done. And the boy also likes a little bit of rosy cheek, not to put quite as much on the boys, just underneath the eye, an angle, and there you go, 2 dolls, all done. So you now have your completed Weebee dolls. If you're completing the cowl pattern for the bunny, tail and hat, I'll be doing the video for that next, part 6, and I'll put a link in the description box below. Thanks, bye.